Alright everybody, so how we doing today? Got my mug full of tea. Alright everybody. Love my sticks. Stick, sticks, and hammer. Good guy. Anyway, so here's an article that should surprise absolutely no one. U.S. liberals self-destruct over migrant crisis, guaranteeing Trump 4 more years in power. Is the United States a country founded on the blood, sweat, and tears of immigrants from around the world? A cruel, unrepentant racist at heart? Forget about terrorism. Melting polar caps and even the U.S. government, according to the results of a new Gallup poll, more Americans than ever before, 27%, view immigration as the most important problem confronting their nation. The new data shatters the previous record, 23%, set just last month. Does this mean it's time for Americans to haul away the Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor and store it in a warehouse alongside those bronze Confederate generals? And while we're at it, let's ship to the incinerator of history the famous words of the poem, The New Colossus, written by the Jewish-American poetess Emma Lazarus, which boldly proclaims to the world, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore." Although such steps would certainly seem radical, there can be no doubt that the immigration question is preoccupying America's short attention span like never before. It should not be forgotten, after all, that the main reason a real estate magnate from Manhattan is now firmly entrenched in the White House is basically he promised to build a wall, or more precisely, have Mexico build a wall along the porous southern border. Yet much like Barack Obama's campaign pledged to close Gitmo, the Great Wall of Trump has failed to see its first stone. Far from hurting the U.S. leader's popularity, however, it appears Trump will breeze to another 4 years in office, largely due to the American voters' anxiety over immigration. Actually, a portion of the wall was built in Texas. They paid for it themselves, by the way. It would be very difficult to argue that Americans are natural-born racists. Over the years, they've graciously thrown open their door to millions of migrants, with only isolated episodes of racism rearing its ugly head at the same time. However, Americans are deeply imbued with a fierce sense of fairness and equality. Thus, when they see images of thousands of desperate immigrants streaming towards their flimsy border, not with the intention of applying legally for entrance through to official channels, mind you, but rather with the intent of gaining entrance illegal and even violently, this incites the greatest revulsion. There is no cutting in line at an American supermarket, right? So why should there be cutting in line at the border? Yet it seems the liberals greatly underestimated this fundamental characteristic of fair play that is inherent to the American mindset. Today, the Democrats, together with the progressive freshman wing of their party, comprised of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, and Rashida Tlaib, otherwise known as the Squad, have taken sides with the illegals, practically arguing that to deny them a free pass in the United States is tantamount to being affiliated with the Ku Klux Klan. At the same time, high-ranking members of the party, notably Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, otherwise known as the dynamic duo, that's what I call them, have obstructed Trump's efforts to build a wall on the Mexican border, every step of the way once again calling such measures racist. Unfortunately, these liberal Democrats tend to call a lot of things racist, even things that aren't racist. It's getting to the point now where the word has lost most of its meaning. They even try and push this idea that black people can't be racist because racism is racial prejudice plus power. Power over someone else, which, by the way, you will never find that definition in any dictionary ever, anywhere. I swear to God, I'm going to find the personal addresses of a bunch of Democratic Party leaders and I'm going to send them dictionaries for Christmas. I'll do it. I mean it. I'm serious. The situation came to a boil earlier this month when Ocasio-Cortez, a.k.a. AOC, and other Democratic lawmakers paid a visit to El Paso, Texas. a town precariously nestled on the Mexican border. Naturally, the Democrats used the visit to push a political agenda, portraying the holding facilities for the illegal asylum seekers as concentration camps, where people were forced to drink out of toilets. One day after the high-profile visit, however, a U.S. border agent gave the U.S. media a lengthy tour of an ICE facility. While it could never be confused as Shangri-La, it was a far cry from the deplorable hell on earth described by AOC. Yes, because she's a lying moron. At the same time, many Americans respond to the visit by stating the obvious. If the liberals don't want to see children being held in less than exemplary facilities, then simply build a wall like other countries. Yeah, you know, like the wall Israel built or the wall France built. Just an idea. Yet you don't call them racist. No one dares call Israel racist. Ho ho! To fully appreciate how the Democrats, specifically the four frolicking freshmen progressives, are shooting themselves in the foot over this crisis, consider this. When the entire Democratic Party voiced their approval of a Republican-drafted $4.6 billion emergency aid package to assist the migrants who find themselves trapped in a bureaucratic purgatory, the self-seeking members of the Squad refused to endorse the initiative. On top of that, they launched an embarrassing attack against members of their own party, not least of all Speaker Nancy Pelosi. How did Trump respond to the Democratic infighting? Not silently, that's for sure. He not only took sides with Pelosi, but went on a savage offensive against the Democratic progressives, inviting them to go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came, he tweeted. Then come back and show us how it's done. Needless to say, all hell broke loose, which is undoubtedly what Trump was hoping for. Pelosi was suddenly forced to clumsily shift gears in the fast lane and lend her support to the four freshmen who had been foolishly turned on her. Although Trump was accused of using racist language, many people in his country, in his party, deny the charge. In any case, the scandal has done nothing to damage his reputation among fellow conservatives and possibly even enhanced it. Because when you continue to victimize someone, people begin to identify with them. It's a little thing called sympathy. And when Trump gets victimized with the false label and false accusations of being a racist, people sympathize with his position when the liberals, from our perspective, look like they're going nuts. They look like crazy people, which makes Trump an even more sympathetic figure. But do they learn this? Do they learn anything from it? Pfft, of course not. Throughout, here's a Here's a tweet from Aaron Ruper. Throughout history, demagogues have used state power to target minority communities and political enemies, often culminating in state violence. Today we face that threat in our own country, where POTUS is our highest office to mount racist attacks. Yeah, and they keep saying this shit, and people keep rallying again around Trump. The closer he is to his people and to his base, the stronger he becomes. And these crazy-ass liberals are driving them closer and closer together. You want to say that you're not crazy? Prove to me you're sane. Stop acting crazy. Trump is playing a masterful game against the Democrats. He fully understands that many Americans strongly disagree with their views, especially with those of the four horsewomen of the apocalypse. Four horsewomen of the adpocalypse, as he has labeled the progressives and feels confident enough to openly challenge them. And that is exactly why Donald Trump is happy to continue stoking the embers of immigration, keeping the American people in a suspended state of frightened paranoia with each news report that describes the situation in the most harrowing ways. By the liberal-leaning media, no less. It may also explain why Trump has not built the promised wall as well, as why he will most likely be re-elected in 2020 once again. The Democrats will have nobody else to blame for their imminent failure except themselves. I'm guessing they are already hatching a way to blame it all on Russia. I am so glad that they included that at the end of the article. The left likes to say that conspiracy theories are the realm of conservatism, but trust me. Trust me. I have spoken with enough liberals and I've seen enough out there to know that it's not just conservatives. Now, Russiagate's a conspiracy. Russian bots are a conspiracy. There are left-wing conspiracies. They exist. Get over it. Bunch of butthurt liberals and Democrats because the guy they didn't want to win won. And now they're just butthurt. The Mueller probe was butthurt. Russiagate is butthurt. It's all butthurt because they didn't get what they wanted. Like a bunch of crying infants. They have been made infants because they have been infantilized by the all-inclusive, all-nice, let's play fair, let's be good to each other, you know, hyper-liberal influencers and leaders in the media and in politics that have infantilized them. And saying, oh, you shouldn't say that, that's mean, that's hate speech, and all that crap. Anyway, yeah. There you go. That's why we're going to have 4 more years of Trump. Liberals keep driving people into the arms of Trump, and they will rally around him. And they will linger around him like a stink. Anyway.